Percent proportions. We spent a lot of time talking about proportions, so we're going to continue our discussion of proportions. The only difference now is that one of our numbers is going to be a percentage. And strictly because we're talking about a percentage, our percentage, as we learned in conversions, our percent always goes over the number 100. So we're talking about a percent over 100. And since we're talking about a proportion, we have to have two equal fractions or two equal ratios. Since this side over here is proportions, these are the numbers, the quantities that we're talking about. So let's just say that we're talking about Miss Casey's second period class has 20 students out of her total of 120 students. So here's the part, and this is our total students. So it's always part over the whole, part over the total. And here you have it set up again. Percent proportions can be found using part over a whole equals percent over 100, just like we showed you over here. So basically what we're going to be doing is plugging numbers from a problem into this little formula, if you will. Part over a whole equals percent over 100. So of the 200 students in a school, take a look at the number 200. If we're talking about 200 students at a school, we're talking about 200 total students. So we know that 200 is going to go on the bottom. It says 90 students volunteered to work the book sale. So if we're talking about 90 of those 200, 90 is our part, while 200 is the whole. So it's going to go 90 over 200. And we're solving, it says about what percent. Right here, what percent means we don't know our percentage. So they use a percent sign. We normally use an X. So 90 over 200 equals X over 100. We know what to do when we've got a proportion. We cross multiply. 90 times 100. Well, 9 times 1 is 9, and then we've got 3 zeros. So it's 9,000 is equal to 200X. Now we've got take our 9,000, divide it by 200, divide it by 200. We can use a shortcut that we've learned to eliminate zeros. Basically our problem is going to be 90 divided by 2. 90 divided by 2. Oops, I was writing the answer. So 45% of those students work the book sale. Now let's think about it in terms of, does it make sense? We got 200 students. Well, half of those students is 100, and we know that half is automatically 50%. We have 90, which is less than 100, but just a little bit, so it makes sense that our answer is just a little bit less than 50%. Example 2, 30 out of 40 dogs. 30 out of 40. So if I'm comparing the number 30 to the number 40, there we go. 30 is our part out of 40 total dogs. What percentage of the dogs do not have spots? Well, if it says 30 do have spots, then how many don't? Well, that's going to be 10. So we're actually not using the number 30. We're using the number 10. 10 out of 40 equals, we're looking for the percentage, so that's our X over 100. 100 is a given number. It's in every proportion. 100, 100, 100. If we're talking about a percent, it's an automatic number. 10 times 100 is 1,000. And that is going to be equal to 40x divided by 40, divided by 40. Get rid of our zeros. 100 divided by 4. We automatically know that 100, you break it up into 4 sections, you get 25. So our answer is 25%. But another thing that you can look at was way back here when we set it up, 10 dogs that do not have spots out of 40 dogs that do not have spots. Well, reduce that. 10 over 40 is 1 over 4, which you automatically know is 25%. So it works out. Example 3. Margot said that 65% of the students were wearing belts. It already gives us our percentage. So percent, 65, automatically goes over 100. Our percent always goes over 100. How many are wearing belts out of 300 students? Because it's out of 300 students, we can assume that that is 300 total students. So part, we don't know the part, out of a total 300 students. I'm going to show you one more shortcut. Showed you a shortcut here, shortcut here. We'll take a look at this. 100, well, what do I do to get that 100 to 300? Times it by 3. You can use the same strategy here. 65 times 3. So 195 students are wearing belts. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. Example number 4. 200 out of the 500 reptiles are on display at the zoo. What percentage of reptiles are on display? So 200 out of 500. 500 is our total, so it goes on bottom. It says what percent, which means that's what we're solving for, x over 100. Okay, we use the same method, cross multiply and divide, but let's go ahead and reduce first. 2 over 5. 2 times 100 is 200, divided by 5. %. Okay, example 5, 25%. In this problem, it automatically gives us the percentage, so that goes over 100. 25% were trained this summer in saltwater. If there are about 420 dolphins in saltwater, so 420, is that our part dolphins or is that our total dolphins? It doesn't specify that it's a part of something, so we have to assume that it is the whole. So it goes on bottom. Cross multiply. I've run out of room, so I'm going to add it up over here. So 10500 divided by 100. Okay, use our trick. 1 2 zeros, 1 2 zeros. So it's 105 divided by 1, which is 105. So 105 dolphins were trained. Okay, example 6. In the garden there are 70 yellow rose bushes, 50 white, and 80 red. What percent of those rose bushes are yellow? So we're just talking about yellow right now. So we're looking for the 70. 70 is our part of rose bushes. Do we know how many total there are? Well, we don't know, but we can add it up. 70 plus 50 is 120. Plus 80 is 200. 70 out of 200 equals x over 100. Notice a common theme. 100 is in every single one of our problems. Why? Because we're talking about a percent. Well, to get 200 down to 100, what do? Divide by 2. So 70 divided by 2 will give us our answer. 35%. 35% of our total rose bushes are yellow rose bushes. Okay. Example 7. 30% of the freshmen at Awesome High School went to football game on Friday night. There were 90 freshmen at the game. So here's our numbers, 30%. We're given the percentage in the problem, so 30 automatically goes over 100. So those 30% went to the game. They were freshmen that went to the game. So these 90 freshmen that went to the game, is that our part or is that our whole? We'll think about it. Are there only freshmen at a school? No. So we're just talking about 90 freshmen being our part, and we're solving for the total kids, total freshmen at Awesome High School. So 90 times 100 is 9,000. And then we've got 30x, so we're going to be dividing by the 30. Okay, get rid of a 0, get rid of a 0. 3 will go into 9 3 times. 3 will go into 0, 0, 3 will go 0, 0 times. So there are 300 freshmen at Awesome High School. All right, and finally, Mrs. Haynes' class is participating in a homework challenge. There are 21 students in her class. 14 students turned in their homework. What percent of the students did not turn in their homework? Here's another one of those questions where we have to pay attention to the not. So 21 total students, there's our 21 total. 14 students turned it in. Well, if 14 students turned it in, how many did not? Well, 21 minus 14 is 7. 7 out of 21 did not turn in their homework. Before I set up my other part of the fraction, I can reduce this. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 21 divided by 7 is 3. Since I'm solving for percent, it's x over 100. 100 times 1 is 100, divided by 3. And I think you guys know what's going to happen here. It's going to keep repeating. So 33.3%.